So, welcome back to part 2 of this week's Disabilities podcast with Sam. We ended part 1 with Joy Division, and I know you liked that, didn't you, Sam?
I did. Great Mancunian band.
So, now we're going to get into part 2.
Sometimes I feel I've got to run away, I've got to get away from the pain you drive into the heart of me. The love we share seems to go nowhere, and I've lost my light, for I toss and turn, I can't sleep at night. Once I ran to you, now I'll run from you. This tainted love you've given, I give you all a boy could give you. Take my tears and that's not nearly all. Tainted love, tainted love. Now I know I've got to run away, I've got to get away. You don't really want any more from me to make things right. You need someone to hold you tight, and you think love is to pray, but I'm sorry, I don't pray that way. Once I ran.
Soft Cell, Tainted Love. Good song.
Yeah, I really like that. I'm a big fan of Mark Almond, I think, who's the lead singer for that one. He's got a really great voice. I mean, nice to see he was doing a bit of a comeback tour last year.
Okay, so now we're going to go on to something that could be a little bit of a kind of touchy subject, so if you don't want to talk about it, let me know. But how, sort of in general, do you feel about your disability?
I mean, to be honest, everybody's got some form of disability. The difference
Yep,
is
they have.
people can see ours. They just necessarily can't always see somebody else's. You make the choice to be positive and to handle it in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. What about kind of how people react when they find out about your disability? How do they, it can be within your working environment or just in general, how people react when they find out, that you've got a hearing loss?
I think that's a really difficult one because, I think I don't really fit into the usual sort of deaf person's box, as it were. I mean, for all intents and purposes, yes, I have a hearing loss and yes, I wear a hearing aid, but I don't tend to behave in the way that somebody who has a hearing loss does. And I think people find that really difficult to quantify because people think, how is this person supposed to behave? What are they supposed to do? And I think people think, I'm not sure about that. And I think maybe that makes them a little bit wary. Maybe that makes them think, what's this person like? What's their game? But the people that get to work with me on a day-to-day basis, realise actually there's actually a really genuine person underneath all that. And actually he has a lot of failings, a lot of weaknesses, and he's not frightened of showing them. And who is very magnanimous, very open-handed. I think sometimes that's difficult for people. I think it'd be easier for people if I didn't have any speech, and if I didn't behave in the way that somebody, the stereotypical deaf person did, then that might be easy for people to deal with.
I guess it shocks people.
It is. It is a shock. I think it is a shock. But I think it's choosing how you want to live your life and not allowing what I've never allowed anybody to say to me, you can't do something.
No,
I mean, I accept that I have my limitations, And I'm never going to be a Premier League footballer, as I always dreamed of being.
Yeah, I'm never going to be a goalkeeper.
Well, you could be, but it just presents a whole new set of challenges.
I mean, we'd be losing 6-1 every week, but
I don't know about that. What you need is some kind of chip inside the ball that tells you how close the ball is and what angle it is, and then at least you've got an outside chance of diving in the right direction.
Yeah.
It's all a question of skill. There are no what am I trying to say? There are no there's no difficulties or problems there. It's just finding other solutions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And I think you have to think in that way. And I think I'm always interested in the new technology that's coming out.
Yeah.
That helps me to listen to conversations, to listen to what people are saying. I'm always interested in new things that really help me. So I have a device that connects with my hearing aid. That means I can answer my mobile telephone, which looks a bit weird when I'm walking down the street because it looks like I'm talking to myself. But there's all sorts of there's so many different things that are out there, and I think you just have to do the best that you can.
Oh yeah, I think that's one thing where technology is really good. I mean, I use both Apple products and Samsung products. I've got an Apple phone, and I haven't. Get it right. I've got a Samsung phone, and I've got an iPad, and using the voice technology on that, VoiceOver for the Apple products and TalkBack for the Samsung products are both very good accessibility features, and of course they're already built in, so you don't have to download them, and it just helps me a lot to use a phone. What would you like to hear?
Well, do you know, we've been talking about Oasis and how I've never ever bought any of Liam Gallagher's stuff.
Talking to the songbird yesterday, flew me to a place not far away. She's a little pilot in my mind, singing songs of love to pass the time. Gonna write a song so she can see, give her all the love she gives to me. Talk of better days that have yet to come. I've never felt this love from anyone. She's not anyone. She's not anyone. She's not anyone. A man can never dream these kind of things, especially when she came and spread her wings, whispered in my ear the things I'd like. Then she flew away into the night. Gonna write a song so she can see, give her all the love she gives to me. Talk of better days that have yet to come. Never felt this love from anyone. She's not anyone. She's not anyone. She's not anyone.
Talking about misconceptions, then this could take a while to talk about this because there's a lot. What are the most kind of common misconceptions about somebody that's got a hearing loss?
Oh, that's a really interesting one. Common misconceptions. I think that always that you can't hear something that's going on, or you can't hear everything. Annoyingly, that always happens when you can actually hear things. So people say, "Oh, did you get all that?" Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, I heard all that. And then the times when you miss things out, people think, "Oh, did you get that?" I think I've got better though at saying, "Sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you say that again?"
Yeah.
Or if it's in a lecture somewhere, or if it's in a bigger meeting, it's saying, "Can you just clarify that for me?" But I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions. I think in terms of other ones, I think in terms of sometimes it's that you go the other way and people think you can actually hear everything.
Yeah.
And that can be a bit of a difficult one. But I think the main one really is that some people just kind of, they're not really sure how to gauge you. I think probably because they don't understand audiograms and they don't understand hearing aids, and they don't understand other things about what it actually means to be deaf. So they don't understand a lot of the things that change how you hear and where you hear best. So that could be the room that you're in. I mean, we're really lucky in the studio. You've got loads of padding on the walls and other things. But in ordinary rooms, you don't get that.
So are you hearing me quite well then?
Because there's a lot of soft surfaces in this room. I mean, I always used to, if I was doing a radio interview with somebody, the best place for me to do a radio interview with them was actually in a car. Because it was a natural.
That's got a similar sound, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's a natural studio. So if you're ever out on the road and you're doing an interview with somebody, you have a car handy.
Yeah.
You do an interview in there. It's great. But it's soft furnishings and that kind of thing. So I think people don't fully understand or appreciate how much an environment can make a big difference. I remember being in a church about 2 weeks ago, and I was having a cup of tea with some of our parishioners afterwards, and it's quite a high ceiling.
Yeah.
That was in this room. I hadn't been into it. It's the first time I'd been to this particular church, and it made it really difficult to hear because all the sound bouncing around all over the place. You've got loads of different conversations that are happening, and that can be a little bit difficult. I think that's the main misconception. Yeah.
So when we look at misconceptions about blindness, there's going to be quite a few. Actually, one thing I'd like to say, what sort of things what kind of assumptions might you have about somebody that can't see very well?
I mean, I think the obvious ones is when we were walking here down to the studio and you had the cane.
Yeah.
And I was really conscious, how much are you aware of who's close to you and who isn't? And do I need to open the door for you, or do you know the layout? Because you must have a great memory. You just need to have a great memory.
I'm sorry, who are you?
It's a bit like the joke, isn't it, about short-term memory?
Yeah.
Did I tell you I had short-term memory loss? Sorry, did I tell you I had short-term memory loss?
Yeah.
Did I just tell you that?
Yeah. Sorry, I tell you? Did you tell me you had short-term memory loss?
Yeah. You obviously have a very good memory. You got that one in one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think. I would not have it. I wouldn't. Do I open the door for you? Do you know where the door is? Are you aware of what's around you? Because what I'm conscious of, like I said earlier, I don't want to come across as condescending or as I want your natural personality to sort of come to the fore.
Well, the whole point of the cane is actually to know what's in front of me, or to know that there is something in front of me. So when I come to a door, I know that, so I can open the door. And also, in terms of knowing who's close to me, not really. Unless they're talking, I don't really know how close they are to me, which has involved in me hitting people with the cane. But I've been told that they should move out the way for me, so apparently so. Yeah,
I mean, but then I guess it depends how you view it. I mean, how you want to be treated. If you want to be treated as somebody who just happens to be blind, rather than somebody who walks with it, then you would have that. People might not move for you. You might. I bump into people all the time, so it's one of those things. I mean, it's interesting you talk about that because I think sometimes particularly if I'm out walking through Cambridge and I'm listening to somebody and I'm listening quite hard. Sometimes focusing on the road ahead of me is actually a really difficult thing to do because I'm so focused on what that person is saying or what is happening in that conversation, and that can be really difficult.
Yeah, I mean the thing tonight, obviously I'm going to the football at Tottenham and we're going to get the train down, and of course that is going to involve a lot of, at that time the train and the tube's going to be very busy, and I'm going to be focusing a lot on what I can hear. So I might end up bumping into somebody in terms of...
but look at it from another point of view. It's a great opportunity to have a conversation with somebody, isn't it?
Yeah,
Hey,
definitely.
It's great bumping into you.
Yeah.
You like you're saying
it's great
earlier.
bumping into you. Oh, you're a Crystal Palace fan. Okay.
Yeah. We're not interested in you. But you know, I mean, it must have its plus side, because you could just happen by accident to wander into the area where all the players are.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to be here, am I? Sorry, I couldn't see that.
Yeah.
Have you ever used that?
Do you know, I haven't. And
I
it's funny
would.
because I go to watch my local team, which is St Neots Town, and
Yeah.
I go to watch them play, and you can. It's not so much restricted, because obviously in a football stadium, like a Premier League ground, you've got your seats that you kind of have to sit in, whereas you can walk around a local team, and so you can. It would be actually quite easy to do that.
Well, what I would do is scout out the Tottenham Stadium, the new one,
Yeah.
and just say it's a new ground. Sorry, don't know my way around. Sorry, really?
I knew my way around White Hart Lane, but I don't.
Is this really the players' lounge?
Yeah.
Ah,
Are you
right,
sure?
okay. Well, while I'm here, guys, do you mind signing my shirt for me?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
you know, something along those lines.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Do you mind if I can come and have a word with Pochettino or?
Yeah, well, absolutely.
You know?
Please tell me, why did you not take the Manchester United job
Yeah.
and see what
yeah.
response you get?
No, I wouldn't say that, because I don't want him to take the Manchester United job. I want him to stay at Tottenham.
Well, I think he's quite safe, because it's not going to happen for at least a couple of years. So,
I think we're sidetracking a little bit.
Yeah.
So another one is, people often think that they think that they have to change the way they talk to me. I was in a shop a couple of weeks ago, and I'm, for want of a better word, looking at what they've got, and one of the shop assistants came up and she goes, "Oh, are you okay?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm fine. I don't need you to talk to me like that. I'm not 5."
Yeah, and that's I think, like I was saying earlier, that's a really difficult thing, because you have people, they come across and they do feel that they're being genuine, but being sort of talked to as if you're a 5-year-old, when actually you're not a 5-year-old. You're actually a very articulate, very intelligent young man.
Thank you.
And you don't need that.
Yeah. Another funny one is, people mistake me for having what you have actually is a hearing impairment. I wonder if anyone ever mistakes you for being blind.
I've never had that, but I can appreciate sometimes people tend to talk a bit louder.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes, you don't need to shout.
Yeah. We, somebody will come up to me and go, "What is your name?" Yeah, you don't need to do. And then, if anything, I can hear you more than you might be able to hear me.
But it's one of those things. You try and take it with good grace. However many times it might happen to you in a particular day, you take it with good grace. And sometimes people aren't being condescending or difficult. They're not trying to be clever with you. It's just maybe they've never encountered somebody like you or I before, and then they're just responding in a way that they think they should respond.
Yeah, definitely. And then the other one is, people, and I like that people want to help, but they do think that I need help with everything. I mean, I've been stood there before, whatever, maybe waiting for a bus, or waiting to cross the road, and somebody will come up without warning and grab hold of my arm and just kind of try and pull me across the road, which they think, credit to them, they think is being helpful. But of course it's not. I mean, firstly, I have to take hold of the other person's arm so that I can feel the speed they're going at. It's called sighted guide. And also, if you're going to do something like that, at least come up and introduce yourself. Say, "Hello, I'm John," or whatever. Don't just kind of grab my arm, because I probably will likely punch you in the face, because I won't be expecting it.
Well, you don't know who it is these days, do you? I mean, if you're in London, is it knife crime, or is it actually somebody actually genuinely wanting to be helpful?
Well, exactly.
So yeah, no, I totally understand that. I mean, I think if people really do genuinely want to be helpful, and it's fantastic. But I think a lot of it is you and I think both really value our independence as well.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
I know I really value mine.
Yeah, I really value mine.
And it's something that's really important to me. It's part of my identity. The fact that I can actually go out and do things for myself actually give me a lot of. It really helps and bolsters my self-esteem.
And the other thing is, if I don't know about you, but if I need help getting across somewhere that I mean, if I'm in St Neots, because that's where I live, I know the area. I've lived there all my life. I know what I'm doing. But if I'm in a new area and I don't know it, then I'll I'll ask for help, because I'm perfectly capable of actually saying, look, would you mind telling me how I get across this street or whatever?
Yeah, and I think people are really good about that. I mean, sometimes if I'm on the train or I'm somewhere, because I can't always hear the announcements on the tannoy, I'll actually just say, I'll turn to the person who's next to me and say, what does that actually mean? Or if there's been an announcement relating to a train that's delayed, I said, sorry, what does that mean? And
yeah, again, something we have in common, because not all trains do the audio announcements. They'll just flash up on a screen saying the next station is King's Cross. But
what is useful though is if you're waiting to cross the road somewhere, I use all the little thimbles on the underside of the thing to go round.
Yes,
because I can't hear the beeping noise.
Yeah, and I use them because obviously I can't see the green light, and the bleepers don't actually always work. They're not all. Some of them don't work, so I use those because pretty much all of them have those little spinny things
that go round underneath.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic invention.
Oh, it is.
I mean, I did not realise that they were there until, by accident, about 10 years ago. Somebody actually pointed it out to me, somebody who was being really genuine, and said, oh, are you okay? Will you be able to cross this road? And I said, yes, I should be able to. I can see the green light. So there is a thing under there. If you can't, you want to put your hand on it.
Yeah.
And I've used, actually, that was actually really great. It was really helpful.
The way I discovered them, actually, is because I've got a friend who is deaf, and interestingly enough, her uncle is blind. So they both rely on those little things, and she was the one that told me, "Oh, look, you've got these things underneath." So just before we stop, we'll play one more song to kind of finish off. Be a nice ending for the podcast. Is there anything that you'd like to mention that we haven't talked about yet? Anything?
Not really, because I think we've covered most things. I think if anything, if there's anything for anybody that's listening today and you have a disability of any kind, and that is, don't allow that, whatever it is, to stop you from believing that you can actually do something. I mean, we all have physical limitations. Like I've already said, I'm never going to be a Premier League footballer.
Yeah.
But never let it stop you discovering what you are really good at. I mean, you are very good in a radio studio. You're a very good interviewer. You're a real natural, and you can use that. You can use that to have a career in radio, and you can. And I think anybody that's listening, if there's something that you feel you're good at, maybe you are good at talking with people, maybe you are a good listener, and don't allow that. Don't allow your disability to
focus on your strengths.
Yeah, focus on your strengths. To use a footballing expert, Jack Charlton, when he managed the Republic of Ireland years ago, believed that, he talked about imposing his team's game on the opposition. And that's what I do week in, week out. There's some things I'm not good at, but I go out there, but I know what my strengths are, and I play to my strengths.
Definitely.
And I think that's the real key to success.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. And one thing I would like to mention is people, I'm always happy to answer questions on my disability. I mean, I was in Tesco's not so long ago, and a little boy came up to me, maybe, I think he might have been 4 or 5, and he said to me, what's wrong with your eyes? And then his mum pulled him away and went, shh, don't say that. And I had to explain to her, actually, no, let him ask what it is, because that's the way they learn. It's by asking people that have actually got experience.
And I think it helps them to recognise that not everybody in the world is the same. There are people that are different. And like you said, the earlier you learn that lesson, I think the more rounded a person you become. And I was staying somewhere down in Somerset last week with a family, and their children, first thing in the morning, I went down to get something in, but I didn't put my hearing aids in, and they hadn't seen me without my hearing aids in before, and I think it was nice for them to ask me some questions when they actually saw me putting my hearing aids in.
Yeah.
And they were sort of 8, 9, 10 years old, and they'd never seen anything like that before, and it's a really positive thing. So questions are always good at any age.
Yeah,
they're really good.
I mean, I've got a 2-year-old brother, and in a way, I am kind of dreading the day when he's going to say, why are you blind? Or, because I don't know how to explain it to him. But
I don't think you need
I'll
to.
give it a, I'll give it a,
Yeah, I mean, you do the best that you do the best that you can do, but you can't explain it. I can't explain it. Why do some people have perfect hearing? Why do some people have perfect sight? There is no rhyme or reason to life other than that. We all have our different experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, I would certainly say that that my Christian faith has quite plays a big part in that. And it certainly helps me in a way that try and make sense of some of that, and try and use that, and to use those weaknesses and failings as a good expression of what of what I found.
Definitely. Well, we're going to end on some Bowie. I think that's always a good way to end.
I absolutely love David Bowie. When I was in France last year, I had the Best of David Bowie, the 2 CD disc, and I was driving around Brittany for 2 weeks. So I absolutely love this song.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I need to thank you very much for joining me today. Your points have been very valuable, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Great to be here.
Thank you.
It's a god-awful small affair to the girl with the mousy hair, but her mummy is yelling no, and her daddy has told her to go, but her friend is nowhere to be seen. Now she walks through her sunken dream to the seat with the clearest view, and she's hooked to the silver screen. But the film is a sad thing for she's lived it 10 times or more. She could spit in the eyes of fools as they ask her to focus on sailors fighting in the dance hall. Oh man, look at those cavemen go. It's the creepiest show. Take a look at the low man beating up the wrong guy. Oh man, wonder if you'll ever know who's in the best-selling show. Is their life on Mars? It's on America's tortured brow that Mickey Mouse has grown up a cow. And now the workers have struck for fame, 'cause Lennon's on sale again. See the mice in their million hordes, from Ibiza to the Norfolk Broads. Rule Britannia is out of bounds, to my mother, my dog and clowns. But the film is a sad thing for, 'cause I wrote it 10 times or more. It's about to be writ again.